This is Hexed Encountered. My name's Joe. Today I'm going to be continuing my playthrough of Stout Hearts. This is from Tiny Battle Publishing and designed by Jay Ward. This is a game it's a solitaire game where you are in command of a British battalion that is attacking in Normandy in the Hedgerows, and you have to basically move up the map and capture victory positions here and up here. I did two previous videos on this game, a first look where we kind of went over the components and sort of described how the game works, and then I did a part one of this playthrough which covered the setup of the game and then turns 1 and 2. This is turn 3. This will have the first of our 3 pre-planned bombardments. Unfortunately, this bombardment probably isn't going to do me any good because of the way that this worked out as far as my advance. I had been hoping that I would be a little bit further along by turn 3. I have rolled fairly poorly in turns 1 and 2, so that did not happen. So when we start the turn, the first thing we do is our battalion headquarters phase. So what the battalion headquarters phase allows you to do is, here's our battalion headquarters, and it allows us to basically move any of our support assets into company boxes, and then we can also do things like deploy our reserve company or pull assets back from the map. So what we're going to do here is, I already have a forward observer that I tried to, because you deploy them here, and then the company, if they want to bring them to the map itself, they can try to pull them up into the line. We tried that last turn with our forward observer. It didn't work because you have to roll for it. So what we'll do this time is I'm going to deploy some more assets. So we'll deploy a machine gun to Company B and Company C, which will help with defense. I'm going to also deploy another Churchill tank to Company A and one to Company C as well. I'll leave my anti-tank guns for now, only because you're limited in what you can have in terms of assets for your companies. I mean, I can deploy them, and eventually I'm going to also deploy these assault pioneer and my 2 platoon carriers. But I need to break through this first line first. So once you've done your battalion headquarters phase, you move to the barrage. So the way the barrage works is you have these stonk markers here. That's the smoke side. So you have stonk markers, which represent your artillery strikes. You can have up to 5, but the rules for placing them is they have to be between 2 and 3 hexes away from your unit. So you can't place them adjacent to a British unit. So, I'd love to be able to place them on these units here because they're adjacent and I could suppress them. That's the point of this. But you can't do it. So we basically have 2, by my count, that we can legally put these on. Here and here. So we're going to put a stonk here and a stonk here. And then we roll. And if we roll 1 to 4, they're suppressed. 5, 6, no effect. We rolled a 3, so the stonk here will stay, and that unit is suppressed this turn. Now we'll try this guy, and we rolled a 1, so they're both suppressed this turn. But unless I can actually attack them this turn, that's not going to do me any good. Once that's done, you move to your company headquarters phase. So this is when you would be able to, in the case of Company A, our major is actually static. So static basically reduces your strength, and so it's something you need to rally from. It's a state you need to rally from. So they can't move, and their combat effectiveness is reduced. So the activation phase, you try to activate your company commanders, or your company headquarters basically. So the way this works is you roll your die. If it's a 3 or higher, the activation is successful. If it's a 1 or a 2, it is not. And of course I rolled a 1. That's great. And you're supposed to deduct 1 from it as well if you have 2 or more platoons static, and I do have 2 static platoons here. I have 8 and 7 are both static. 9 is the only one that isn't. So actually companies B and C don't have to do that because their units, they don't have any static units at all. The only company that has it is A. So what we'll do now is I'll have companies B and C try to pull up the assets that I was giving them. So the way this works is you call forward your assets, and again you need a 3 or higher. So for B, we're looking at them. Actually, they're not going to pull that up. That's going to stay. It's assigned to the company, but it's off map, so they can use it. And machine guns are only useful in defensive, like when we're defending against a counterattack. And I'm not going to pull it up to deploy it on the map. It can just be an off-map asset. But I am going to try for Company C to bring this Churchill tank platoon forward. So a 3 or higher is successful. We rolled a 5, so it's going to get pulled up, and I'm going to deploy it here with 14 platoon in Company C. Okay, so then once you've done that stuff, you can actually move into the platoon actions. So for Company A, we're a little bit we're not really in great shape because we have these two guys are static. So what I'm going to do here is I'm thinking I'll move Company A 9th platoon up to attack this position here. Now they're in the woods, so they're going to get a defensive bonus. Now here on this card, our trusty player's aid here, you can see your assault routine, then the counterattack routine for the Germans. If you capture a German position, they will counterattack to take it back. On this side, you have the tables that kind of have the sequence of play, and then these you roll beforehand, your suppression table, etc., etc. Okay, so we're going to move him up. And then what we will do is I'm going to actually have the Company B's 10 platoon assist by support for this particular unit right here. So our attack is 3. Here we have another 3, and the major will give them a +1. So we're going to have 6 and a +1 on the roll. Will be a 7, and then we add what we get for our die roll here, and we get a 1, so we have an 8, which is bad. 2 + 1 for the woods. We roll, we got a 1, so that's a 3, 4. It's a 4, so it's 8 to 4. That's a +4, and if we look here on our chart, +3 +4. Outcome is success. We're going to roll to see if we lose any strength points. The German unit's eliminated and advance after combat. So this guy will be eliminated. We take him off. Now he does have a B on his counter here, so he's going to become part of the pool for B, which is these guys up here, for counterattacks and so on and so forth. So this guy moves up. We roll the die. If we get a 5 or a 6, we lose a strength point. And we rolled a 6. What do you know? So that's Company A is now down to 4 strength points. And it looks like I'm going to have to deploy Company D over here probably, the way things have been going thus far. So we'll move on. I'm going to advance these guys up here. And I'll have them assault this unit right here. I'm not doing anything with this guy yet, because if I can eliminate this one, I can move up to maybe move up to get into range to do something here. That's the hope, at least. Let's see. We're going to assault with this guy. So the way the assaults work when you have a tank, and they don't get any defensive benefit from the hex type, hedge terrain. So you double this, so this becomes a 6 actually. So it's going to be a 6-2 base, and we roll. So we roll to add to the assault, and we get a 2, which gives it an 8. And then for the Germans, we get they get their defensive strength plus any terrain modifiers, which is none. They would have a deduction if they were suppressed, but they're not. They got a 5, so 5 + 2 is 7, we had an 8, so that's 8, 7, that's a +1. So for a +1, 1d6 for greater, we're going to lose a strength point. Assaulting units and assets become static. The German units eliminated, advance after combat. So he's eliminated. He does not have a letter, so he's just going to the dead pile. They're going to move up and they're going to become static. So you flip them over like so. I need to roll, and if I get a 4 or higher, B will lose a strength point. And I rolled a 2, so no loss of strength point there, so that's good. Now I'm going to move my 5th Wessex up to here. So the way that works is we just move, but we have to check because he's in line of sight of an unrevealed unit. So we do have to roll to, so here you see British unit move within 2 hexes line of sight unsuppressed German position, which is this guy right here. 1, 2, no effect. 3, 4, static. 5, 6, German units activated and flip to its revealed side. So we basically want to roll a 1 and a 2, a 1 or a 2 or a 4, a 5 or a 6. We rolled a 6, so he's going to get revealed, and it's an anti-tank gun. Now, an anti-tank gun, when it's revealed, automatically attacks a tank in its line of sight, which is, there's one right here. So that is revealed here in the back. You go to the units and you see, where is he? Right here. So as soon as the unit's revealed, it immediately targets 1 hex within 3 hexes in line of sight, which contains a British tank. Roll 1d6. On a 1 to 3, no effect. 4 or 5, flip the tank to its static side. On 6, you remove the tank to assets expended. So we're hoping for a low roll here so that we only get no effect. So 1, 2, 3 is what we're hoping for. And we got a 4, so 4 is going to make it static, which is bad for my attack because I was planning on using that. So now he can move up. I think I have to check again because this guy's unrevealed and he's now in his line of sight. So we'll do the check again. So again, we're looking for a 1 and a 1, 2, 5, 6. Got a 4, so that makes him static. So he's now static. Okay, so we'll do Company C now. So we're going to use this guy for fire support. So we're going to get a +6. And here we have 3. So we're going to attack our gun. Now it's going to use the 3 for defense because we do have a tank involved. So 3 defense. And we're going to have 3 + 1 for the roll. Our static tank won't take part. So we'll have 3 + 6 is 9, + 1 on the roll. So basically a 10. And he's going to have a 3. But he's also inside a farmhouse. And that gives him a +2 defensive modifier. So he's going to start at a 5. We're starting at a 10. So we're going to roll for the assault. And we get a 1. So we have 11, and we roll for them, and they have a 5, and they're probably going to roll a 6. They rolled a 3, so that's +3, because they have 8, so it's 11, 8. So +3, success. We're going to roll to see if we lose a strength point. A 5 or a 6 would be bad. We got a 3. German unit eliminated, advance after combat. So we're going to remove him. He's got a B, so he's going to go in the pile for possible B. And then we're going to move these guys up. I guess we have to, do we have to leave the static guy? I think we do. They're not allowed to move, maybe? I'm a little unclear on that, but we'll just leave him right here for now. Now this guy here, we're going to move him up here, and we will check to see if he becomes static. 5 reveals the German. It's a blank, as you can see, so that goes to the B pile as well. So he's here, and that's going to basically end our turn. So here on our turn sequence, we're done with the platoon action, so we go to resolve combat actions. Now we got to do the German counterattack phase. So we have 2 possible counterattack areas. We have here, no, I'm sorry, here and here. So 2 areas where they can counterattack. So the way the counterattack routine works, and we saw this in the first part, but I'll just go over it real quick. We roll here first. We're in the outpost area, so you use the first column here under outpost. 1 and 2 is nothing. 3, 4 is mortar. 5, 6 is a counterattack. So let's roll for this one first. A 6 is a counterattack, and so then we roll for the number of units. 1 to 3 is 1, 4 to 6 is 2. Rolled a 4, so 2 units. So we pull 2 units out of the A pile, and we put them here. So looking at this guy right here, the binoculars, we look them up in our unit key. Artillery observer. Okay, so observer with security and communications, defends with combat value. If it's activated as a counter-attacking unit, it conducts offensive fire against the position in the same way as it conducts defensive fire, but only against the one positions, then removed from the map and takes no further part in the counterattack. Okay, and they get a 2 for the infantry. So basically, we roll. Well, we'll roll for the fire first. So we got a 5. It's already static, though. It's already static. So I think we'll just add the 1 to the combat attack. So it's going to be 3. And then he's going to get removed. I'm just going to throw him out right now. He goes to the dead pile. So we have 3 attacking here. So the defensive value is going to be 4. So it's 3 attacking 4 as the base. So we'll roll for the attack. The German attacker gets a +3, so that's a 6. And the British got a 4, so that's 8, 6. Or 6, 8 rather. So it's a -2 on the counterattack. So a -2, position held, 2 attacking units eliminated. So the German gets eliminated. And it's, again, a B, so it's going to go into the B pile, the B pot. And now we need to do, and I did it in the wrong spot. I did it there instead of here. So this guy actually is now static. But other than that, shoot, I totally screwed that up. I was doing this one, and I did this one instead, which isn't even a proper counterattack target. I'm just going to leave it because I don't remember all the permutations. It would be a 3 instead of a 4. So it would be a -1 instead of a -2. And a -1 is 1 attacking unit eliminated. So it still would have been the same issue there. So then the other one is here. So again, we roll to see if there is a counterattack. 6 would indicate that there is. Now we roll for how many units? A 5. Again, it's 2. We pull 2 A's out here. And we get an infantry and a machine gun. So that's 5. That's a pretty strong counterattack. So the medium machine gun, it attacks and defends with the combat value adjusted for terrain. This terrain underneath here is a farmhouse, so we do get 2 for that. And we also get a +1 on the die roll, I believe, for our commander. Yes, so we got 4 plus 2 is 6 on the defense and 5 on the offense. So we'll roll for the Germans. They get a 1, so their total numbers are 6. So the worst we're getting here is a 0. We rolled a 5, so that's a +5 for the British. So counterattack, it's going to be more than -2. So both of these units are eliminated. 1 goes to the dead pile. The machine gun goes to the B pot. The position is held. Once you're done with that, we go back to our sequence of play here. So we're done with that line of communication check. We have to make sure everybody's in communication. They all are. They all have unobstructed back to our British map edge. And then we have flank progress, so we have to check the flank progress. And that's over here. 1, 2, no movement. 3, 5, 1 hex. 6, 2 hexes. So you get penalties if you don't maintain an advance that is basically, like if these guys get ahead of your advance, then you're in trouble. So we're going to roll here for the left flank. We got a 4, so that's a 1 advance. And then we'll roll for the right flank, and we got a 5, so that is also a 1 advance. So we're still ahead, which is okay. And then after that, we have the operations interface where you remove the stonks, smoke, etc. And we move on from there, I guess. Although I'm not sure if I'm supposed to reveal this, even though he's static. I'm going to reveal it anyway because they're adjacent to each other. That's obviously going to be an interesting one to try to attack. But the good news is this whole area, we've got 1 unit left in the outpost area of the map. And then we're going to push forward and hopefully knock those guys out and continue our advance. So we go to game turn 4. Let me throw this out because I don't need that anymore. So we're on game turn 4. Our next artillery strike will be at 7, and hopefully it'll be up here somewhere. So now we're in the area where we're going to have to start trying to capture some of our victory locations and maybe pick up some victory points, which we don't currently have any right now. So game turn 4, we start over. We're at the British operations phase, battalion headquarters. Okay, I don't have anything really that I want to do here. I don't actually, yes I do. I'm going to try to give my assault pioneer to company B. So we'll move him there, and I'll explain why in a moment. And maybe I'll deploy my platoon, one of my platoon, that's company C actually. B is over there. So we'll deploy our platoon carrier to company C. One of our platoon carriers to company C. Okay, and then we will move on here to our company headquarter action. So again, we're going to try to rally our company A headquarters. And we rolled a 4 again. That actually, it's a 3 or higher to rally. So he does rally. And now he can undertake as many actions as you want. So now we're going to try to rally our static units here. So when you're trying to rally static platoons, you use the number here for the rally roll based on their strength. So company A is at 4. And then you can also use your company commander, and I haven't done this yet, to actually regain their starting initial strengths. So I know B has lost 1 and C has lost 2. Because C was at, no, B has lost 1, so B was at 9, I think. One of these two was at 9. 4 actually started at 7 or 8, I believe. I think it was actually 8. But anyway, we're going to try to roll a 4 or higher to rally these guys. So we got a 4, so we rally 7th platoon. We'll try for 8th. Another 4. Now you have to roll separately for the asset. So the asset, the platoon is good. The asset needs a 1 to 3 to become active. We got a 4, so the asset stays static. The asset stays static. We'll roll for 9. We got a 1, so that also stays static. But we do have enough now that we can actually put an attack on this guy here. We can also attempt to pull up our assets here. We have the forward observer and the 4th tank and the tank platoon 4. So we'll try to pull them forward here. And so to do that, you call forward if the roll is 3 or more. Roll to 6, so the foo gets to come forward. We'll put him with the commander. Then we'll roll for our tank, and we rolled a 4. So the tank gets to come forward as well. We're going to stack him with the 5th Wessex since he's going to actually be leaving this guy behind since he is static. We'll move to company B, and I'm going to try to actually recover a strength point. So you roll 1d6 here, and so we need a 3 or higher to move up a point. And we rolled a 1, so that failed. But I am going to try to pull up my, we'll leave the machine gun section, but we're going to try to pull up the Pioneer. So again, to call forward an asset, you need a 3 or more. We got a 4. We'll pull him up, and I'm going to stick him up here with our 12th platoon, which is currently static. And now I'm going to try to rally 11, its asset, and 12. Okay, so we rolled a 6, which is good for 11th platoon. Now we need a 1 to 3 for the tank. Got a 1, so the tank also is rallied. And now we'll try for 12, and again we need a 3 or higher. We got a 5. Okay, so everybody's rallied. That's good. Now for Company C, we can try to rally our asset here, so we'll do that. And we got a 2, so that's rallied. So B and C are in pretty good shape here. But what I'm going to do as far as the operations portion here is we're going to try to attack this guy. So I'm going to call in, I've got my forward observer, and I'm going to call in a barrage here. So as you can see, supporting fire, artillery called by the FOO, successful on 1 to 4, suppression on 1 to 4. So that's actually worth doing. We're going to hit this guy. And I rolled a 1, so the call is successful. Now we just need a 1 to 4 to make him suppressed. We got a 3. So I'm going to drop a stonk on this guy. So he's now got suppression, which removes 2 from his die roll when we attack, which we are going to do right now. So what I will do here is I'm going to attack with my stack here. So I have a 3. He's in open, basically open terrain. There's no terrain modifier for that terrain. So we've got 3 with a +1. This is kind of a little bit of a risk for me, but because the artillery came in, I'm gonna try this way. We're just gonna attack with our company and the commander, which gives us 4. He's got a 3 -2, so he's starting with a 1. So we're starting with a +3 advantage. We rolled a 6, so that's great. We've got 10. He's starting with a 1. Got a 3, so that's 4. It's +6, so this is going to result in him being eliminated. +5 or more, success, no losses, German unit eliminated, advance after combat. So thanks to our stonk, we got rid of that guy. He's got a B, so he's going to go to the B pot. Stonk goes back there. We move up. And then we will move on, and I'm going to move these guys up 2. So when we move here, we don't have to check for moving into line of sight because this blocks line of sight. But then we're going to move up here, and we're going to assault this guy here. So we have to flip him over. And that's a tough one. That's a tough nut to crack. He's 4 and he's in wood, so that's a 5. And this guy actually has to stay back. But we have 6 attacking 5, basically. So 6 attacking 5. No suppression, obviously. Roll for the attacker a 5, so that's 11 attacking 5. Now the defender gets a 2, so that's 11 attacking 7. So that's a +4. So here we have +3 or 4, success. We roll 1d. 6, 5 or higher would be a strength point. We rolled a 3, so no losses there. German eliminated, advance after combat. So he's dead. No letter, so he goes to the dead pile, and we advance. Now this guy's static, or I move him up as well. We're going to get a counterattack here. So rather than move to B and do that, I'm going to do my counterattack right now, just to kind of keep everything together. We'll move on to doing all of B's operations and C's operations. So we're going to counterattack here. Now this one is in the main line of defense. So we use this middle column. So now we have 1 is nothing, 2, 3 mortar, 4 to 6 is a counterattack. So we're hoping for a 1 because that would be the easiest. We got a 6. Okay, so now we roll 1 to 3 will be 1 unit, 4 to 6 will be 2. Of course, we roll a 5 to get 2. Now we're pulling from the B. So we're going to pull out 2 two Bs here. So even though these two say A on them, because they actually both came from the pot after I threw they came from the dead pile from down here, basically. So we flip one over, it's a 2 infantry. We flip this one over, it's actually blank. So when you pull a blank, just to make sure that I'm doing this correctly here, it means no troops, and you're just basically advancing into the spot. So that's a 2. They're attacking a wooded area. We have 6 plus 1 will be 7 for the defensive strength. They're a 2. Plus 4 is 6, so it's 6 attacking 7. Plus 1 is 8. 6 attacking 8 is a -2. We know from before, counterattack, -2, position held, 2 attacking units eliminated. There's only 1, so he's dead. He has a B, so he's going to go back into his pot for B. And that is that for the counterattack. So now we will move to Company B. And so for Company B, we added a pioneer up here. So I'll get to that in a moment. But what I'm going to do first is I'm going to move my major and my other guy up too. So 1, 2. Now, because he moved into the line of sight of this guy here, we have to check to see if that makes them static. So again, a 1 or a 2 is nothing. A 3 or 4 makes them static. A 5 or 6 reveals the German. We rolled a 2, so that's nothing. Now, with this one here, 1, yeah, see, they're too far away to actually support the attack here. So I'm just going to move this one up, actually. 1, 2, and again we have to check for the impact of doing that. Rolled a 3, so that means they become static. It's not great. And I'm going to reveal this guy, and it's a tank, so that's not great. And they are in a farmhouse as well. Now our third guy is here. We're going to attack. So the way this works now, they are in a hamlet, which is a +2, but we have a pioneer. So if we look at our British units, the pioneer is right here, assault pioneer platoon. So effect, add combat factors to platoons engaged in suppressing fire, supporting fire, and assault. Combat factor doubled when attacking into farm or hamlet hexes. So they add 4 to our 3 to make it a 7. And then they're going to be 3 plus 2 is 5. So it's 7 attacking 5. We roll our dice. We got a 1 for the British, so that's an 8. Now it's 8, 5. They also got a 1, so that's a +2. So +2 is success. 1d6, 4 or greater is a step loss. So that's a 1, so no. Assaulting units and assets become static. German eliminated. Advance after combat. So he's gone. And he goes to C pot. And they move up but become static. So they're now here and they become static. And they're also subject to counterattack. So we will now do our counterattack. So counterattack procedure here. Again, we have to roll. We're in the main, so a 1 is nothing, 2, 3 is a mortar. We rolled a 1, so no counterattack, so that was lucky. So now we're into C, and C basically has a pretty easy time of it here because they don't have anybody nearby. So they're going to move up 1, 2. They will also move up 1, 2. Now, because of this here, that's a ridge, I believe. It is a ridge and it's level 3. So these Germans can't see across the ridge. So these guys are hidden from these two. So they'll move up 2. This guy will move up 1, 2, and I'm going to move the Churchill with him, to be with him rather, right there. And that's going to end my phase, or this turn essentially. And now, so now we'll roll for our flank, the flank movement. So again, 1, 2 is no movement. That's a 6. So it's going to be 2 hexes. So they're up here. And on this side, another 6, so they're going to be up here. So they're kind of keeping pace with these guys. And so that's going to end this turn because we don't have anything else to clean up or anything. And our line of communications, I believe, are still good. You know, we don't have any Germans kind of clogging up the works here. We do have some guys that are static that I'm going to have to rally and so on and so forth. But this being the end of turn 4, I'm actually going to stop the video here. I'm not sure whether there'd be any value in actually playing the entire game all the way through, because as I mentioned in my previous video, that's going to take a lot of time, and I'm not sure if you guys would even find it worthwhile. So what I am going to do is just stop here, and this will probably be the last video unless I get a lot of comments saying, hey man, do another video and go through, you know, turn 5 and 6 and 7, or, you know, finish the whole thing or whatever. So if people want me to do that, I will. Otherwise, I'll probably just play the game out myself to finish it up, enjoy playing it, you know, kind of offline. I play a lot faster when I'm playing without having to talk everything through and show you guys what's going on, etc., etc. But I hope that, you know, the additional being able to see artillery and so on helps. You get to see what some of the support units do in terms of adding things to the game. So again, the game itself, since this is probably going to be my final video on it, I may do a review where that would be some of the things I could talk about. But we do have, you know, you have your terrain effects chart. There's basically 3 things that affect defensive modifiers. Your stone farmhouse, your woods and scrub, that's a 1. Farmhouse and hamlet, which is a church, and stone houses is a 2. Other than that, nothing affects combat, but you have line of sight modifiers based on the level. So you have level 3 and level 4. So like here's level 4. So you have a ridge that you would have to go over. And then also kind of inside the booklet here, you have a full description of all the units and what they are, what impacts they have. So you have to check that kind of, oh, here's a gun. What does that mean? You read this, it'll tell you what it means. So here's our assault gun, which is what this is. I said it was a tank, but it's not. It's an assault gun. The tank is actually here. 1.5 would be a tank. So so it would attack a tank platoon within 3 hexes. So I failed to do that, and let me do that right now. So we're going to do that right now to just kind of show what it does. So it's the same thing as before, where you roll, and I rolled a 3, which would be no effect. But if you roll a 4 or 5, you make it static. If you roll a 6, you actually kick it off the map and it goes to the assets expended box. Now, we didn't have that happen. What happens in the assets when you get an asset expended is you use your battalion headquarters to try and reactivate it so it can be available again. And there's a possibility that once it goes here, depending on what you roll with your battalion headquarters, it could end up in the destroyed box. So that's something you have to keep in mind. I did mention you can try to recover strength for your companies. So you know, ideally, now that my major is active again, I could try to, you know, build a company back up. You can't go beyond what you started with, but you can build up back to your original strength. And obviously, when you go up, it's easier to rally. So the stronger you are, the easier it is to rally. As you go down in strength, the harder it is to rally. If you go down to a 1, you need a 6 to rally, which is really tough to get. So obviously there are multiple German unit types, as we saw from what I just showed. And as you go up the map and you get into the B, and especially this, well, B and then C, you'll find tougher units. So you're going to see tanks and tank destroyers, you know, the Stug and Tigers and so on and so forth, and more and stronger infantry as well. Like we saw 4 infantry as well. So you're going to see things that are more difficult as you push up the map. You have to stay ahead of your flank. If you don't stay ahead of your flank, that's going to have a victory point impact. So you get you lose victory points if you fail to keep pace with your flanking battalions at the end of each turn for each flank marker that is 1 or more hexes ahead of the closest flanking British infantry platoon. The British player loses a victory point. So if this guy was up here at 8, then I would lose a victory point because none of my units are within a hex of it. So it's kind of a way, as I mentioned in the first video, it's kind of a timing thing. I call it a timing thing. What it really is just some impetus to push, giving you a nudge to make sure you keep trying to advance, because it's easy to play it safe and try to kind of line everything up so that you can get a lot of force to bear, which is, kind of the cautious way to do that. The historical notes in here talk about, this is a fictional battalion. There is no 5th Wessex. There was no 5th Wessex in World War II. So it's a fictional unit, but in a historical context, it's supposed to be on the flank of the Operation Cobra. So you're advancing next to the American forces that were participating in Cobra, and obviously you're pushing through the hedgerows in Normandy, trying to break out into the interior of France, which is what happened historically. And so that's what all of this is kind of representing. I'm considering doing a review of this game. Like most if not all, and I can say this, I haven't played all of Tiny Battle's games, obviously, but the ones I have played have been very well done, and this is no different. It's a small footprint game. The components aren't what you'd get if you bought something from Flying Pig, which is Mark Walker's other company, like the flagship company, basically, where the component quality is really, really high and everything is really, really well done. Components here aren't quite to that level, but they're good, functional. I love the larger counters. I'm not a kid anymore. They're a lot easier to see. They're meaty. You pick them up. The hexes themselves obviously are larger as well. This game's really well done. If you've played Jay Ward's games, the Battle for Ramadi or Battle of Hue, they work the same way, pretty much, from what I've read anyway. I haven't even played those two games, but I know that this game is based on the system he developed for those two games. And I think it's really well done, the way you kind of can manage your forces, reincorporate some strength, rallying, how the assets work, your flexibility with what you can do with your battalion and company headquarters, the forming up place, the FUP. I just think this is really, really clever and well designed. So that is going to wrap it up for me. As I mentioned, this kind of turned into a mini review there at the end, and I may just do a quick review as well. But for now, I'm going to sign off and say, as always, thank you for watching. I appreciate it. Please consider liking, sharing, and/or subscribing. And if you are a subscriber, thank you again for your support. It is much appreciated. And until next time, my name's Joe. This has been Hexed Encountered, and always happy gaming.